Hold on. Let me set the screen. First of all, the fact that all I said was Taylor and you knew exactly what I was talking about says it all. This isn't just an engagement. Okay. Swifties everywhere right now are either losing their mind because they're so excited, feeling like their sister just got engaged, and everybody's taking it so personally. So we are not going to talk about Taylor Swift's engagement. Okay. We are going to talk about the impact of celebrities on our mental health. Okay. Are you with me? Are you going to lead?
No, this is perfect. This is what's wrong. This is what's wrong with the American society. Welcome to Mental Health Janitors, where we help you clean up the mess in your head. I'm your host, Sgt Q, and with me today, my wife, Holly.
Hey, everybody.
So Doc Jess is still out. She's recovering from surgery, but she'll be back in a couple of weeks. And actually, Holly's getting ready to go into surgery next week. So we're going to do 2 episodes for you guys today. Get those locked in. And then in a couple weeks, Doc Jess should be back.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm excited.
All right. Well, let's get into it. You said you had a surprise for me. No, we did no pre-show today. I have no idea what's happening. And I mean, anybody who knows me knows that I love surprises. No, I don't. So I needed to take a minute to compose myself before we started this because I don't like that at all. So, Holly, let's get into it. The things that I don't like.
If any of you don't know, we have a producer, and our producer does a lot of research throughout the week to tell us what kind of topics are trending and what's going on. And when she sent me this topic, I immediately knew we had to cover it. And I immediately knew that if I told him what it was before filming, before he hit the record button, he may not do it. And chances are you could still get up and as soon as I tell you what we're going to talk about. So, without further fanfare, did you know that the whole internet is abuzz right now with Taylor's engagement? You don't even yet. Hold on. Let me set the screen. First of all, the fact that all I said was Taylor and you knew exactly what I was talking about says it all. This isn't just an engagement. Okay. Swifties everywhere right now are either losing their mind because they're so excited, feeling like their sister just got engaged, and everybody's taking it so personally. So we are not going to talk about Taylor Swift's engagement. Okay. We are going to talk about the impact of celebrities on our mental health. Okay. Are you with me? Are you going to leave?
No, this is perfect. This is what's wrong. This is what's wrong with the American society. Literally right here. People spend more time and energy looking at Taylor Swift's gown or shoe selection or whatever the heck else she's going to be doing instead of spending that time on your own mental health. Because here's the thing, all that time and energy that people are spending watching these videos and researching this stuff and looking this stuff up is a complete waste of time. Complete waste of time. Because none of that is adding value to your life. None of that is driving revenue. None of that is increasing your social status. None of that is increasing your ability to make revenue. None of that is increasing your mental health. None of that is increasing your communication skills or family dynamic. It's actually doing the exact opposite. So all of you who are out there who are researching this stuff, don't be surprised when you're struggling with your own mental health, when you're looking at your relationship and thinking, oh, my boyfriend doesn't measure up, or my relationship doesn't measure up, or I don't measure up. Well, you're spending all of your life and time investing in something that is total garbage. And it's fine. If I lose fans for this, I don't care. Because you know what? You're not interested in actually developing yourself into being a productive member of society.
So let me clarify a little bit, right? Like Taylor Swift, brilliant artist, very talented, and I guarantee you, she does not care what the people on the internet, doesn't care. Makes money either way. So it's not Taylor Swift's fault, right? Or Travis Kelce, whatever. Not their fault at all. What's going on? The problem is that in our society, we get so emotionally invested in what somebody else is doing that we take on that persona, right? I've had friends that have gotten engaged. I've been excited, you didn't get to be part of it. Like, just we got to be part of Luke and Roxy's engagement. We were there. It was something super, super cool. But I absolutely did not lose my mind, right? I was not so invested. The way that people are reacting to this is like it's their life.
It's wild because people would rather invest time and energy into something like that doesn't even matter.
Mhm.
Like they invest so much time and energy into this celebrity status thing that's going on, and it will never affect their life. That person will never know who you are. It's never going to add any value to your life, but yet you invest so much time and energy into that. Like when the royal wedding happened and all of that, people were doing the same thing, and that will have no bearing on your life. But you know what will? Investing that time and energy into developing yourself, into building a relationship with your friends and your family and your community. That'll make a difference in your life. But people get so infatuated with this and they get so spun up in this stuff, and it makes no difference in their life. They're literally destroying their mental health. They get so irritated. It's fine to see what's going on in the world and see what's happening with celebrities. That's fine. That's not what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
The whole entertainment news stuff, like whatever. That's fine. But I'm talking about the people who spend hours scrolling on this stuff, reading articles, reading this in-depth interview
Emotionally invested.
with the friend of the tailor. He was going to be, sewing 6 sequins onto her gown. Their best friend's second cousin said, whatever.
Right.
Who cares about that? Take that time and energy. If you would just take 10% of that time and energy you spend on pop culture, on football, on Taylor Swift, on the music industry, if you took 10% of that energy that you have, that you're spending there, and spend it on developing yourself, it would be amazing how much farther in life people would be. But they would rather just sit there in their own misery and their own mire and look up at these other people who are superstar status, who've got all this stuff going on and say, well, why not me? Because you're not investing in yourself. That's why not you. You wonder why you have anxiety and depression and it won't go away because you're not doing the things you need to do every single day to build mental resilience.
I just knew that was going to be some fine, right?
Yeah.
So now you got to tell us why. Is it because when Taylor gets engaged and I'm a Swiftie and which I'm not.
Well, because you're kind of acting like one.
Is it that way? Is it because Taylor got engaged? I'm a Swiftie. I feel like I'm part of something.
Right.
So tell me what that's doing inside of their brains to make them have that emotional response.
Right. So here's what's happening. As you're scrolling, you're clicking, you're getting dopamine hits, but these are artificial because you're not actually accomplishing anything at all. You're just scrolling and reading these articles about somebody who doesn't know your name and never will and doesn't care about you at all. They just care to keep buying their albums. So that's number one. You're getting these false dopamine hits. And number two, now because you know this stuff about Taylor Swift and all this stuff that's going on, you artificially up your status in a group because now you know what's going on in this pop culture, in this celebrity's life. But the rest of us don't care. Don't care. Somebody starts a conversation with, do you know what happened with so and so's marriage? I'm like, I'm leaving the conversation. There's nothing of value that's going to happen there that's going to be able to directly impact my life. Now, if you told me, hey, do you know what's going on in your friend's marriage? I'd be like, no, tell me so I can help them. How can I be of assistance? Oh, they're going to renew their vows. My cousins are getting married. Great. Let me go and invest some time and energy into a relationship that will have direct impact.
You know what's super interesting about it is that, and you caught me doing this the other day, and we kind of made fun of a friend of ours in the early days when. Do you remember how Facebook had games?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you could work in a restaurant and this game, and we had a friend. That's what she did. She works in a fast food restaurant,
Mm.
and this was her hobby. When she got home, she worked in a restaurant in this game, and it was we joked about it. We were like, "Why that. And you just caught me doing this the other day. I downloaded a game that's like a farm. And it was like, I'm feeding my chickens. And you're like, bro, you got chickens outside. You should have
Shouldn't be dead.
Here's the thing. And Matt talked about it. Pastor Matt talked about it today in church. I can get my shoes on. I can go outside. I can do the work to get the feed, take it to the chickens, fill up their water, black the eggs. It's work. And it takes time.
Yeah.
I swipe my finger, the chickens are eating. And then if they don't eat fast enough, I swipe my finger again. It costs me money. And now the chickens are
Paying for this.
That's not the point. Now the chickens have laid the eggs. And I swipe my finger again, I got the eggs. Instant satisfaction.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I love that we live on a farm. I wanted to live on a farm. I freed to be able to live on a farm. This is my dream. This is my goal. We live on a farm, and that's my goal. But I would still rather sit and stare at a screen and live out my dream because it's clean and it's easy. Isn't it crazy?
Well, no, it's not. I mean, the developers of these games, of social media, of entertainment in general, here's the thing, and I say this all the time. The majority of people, and yeah, I'm talking to the majority of you too, you don't want to be actually educated. You want to be, and maybe drop some words of wisdom in there. Because if you truly want to be educated, you would go back to school and you would learn about this stuff. You would get a degree in mental health. You would take courses. You would sign up for seminars. You would take my class that I offer every single month to come and learn about these things, about how the brain operates and how you can set up small daily little tasks that will actually improve your mental resilience, improve your life, improve your earning potential because you're going to become more emotionally intelligent. You're going to have better relationships. You're going to be more productive. You're going to make more money. You're going to have more time. But people would rather waste their life reading trashy novels, watching, binge watching Netflix, scrolling on their phones, feeding chickens with a finger. They'd rather do that
Yeah.
than actually improve their own life. And when you wake up, there's nothing I can tell you that's going to help you. Nothing I tell you is going to help you until you actually start to execute on these things.
Okay. I think that the reason that our society shifted in this direction, and you can correct me if I'm wrong,
Because we want to seek comfort. That's why.
and why? Because when we were kids, maybe not you and me, right? Because we get that. But this next generation, they're the generation of the microwave, the iPad, the iPad generation. So I'm curious about their, what do you call it? What is it called? The singular a
The anterior cingulate cortex.
Yes.
Yeah, it's tight. It barely get this.
Right?
Because it never had to endure hardship. They never had to wait for anything. They've never had to do any of that things. I mean, my generation, Generation X, totally screwed this up because we're the ones who started the participation trophy. Yeah, my generation started this. Not that we got a participation trophy, but when kids go do sports, we want everybody to be equal. We want everybody to feel good about themselves. So everybody gets a trophy. Doesn't matter if you won or lost, everybody gets a trophy. It's the worst thing that we did to this generation because now they just expect everything to be equal. So why work hard? Why train? Why put in the extra hours if you're going to get the exact same output as the guy who just showed up day one and never did anything? They're both going to get the same outcome. So why would you try? It does two things to society. Number one, it totally disenfranchises the high performers. Why am I going to continue to work hard if I can't get something extra? If my hard work doesn't amount to anything? And for the people who don't do anything, it just reinforces the idea of, oh, I can just show up, kind of wing it, not have to work hard, and I'm going to get the same output as the guy who's been busting his butt to do it. And so the Generation X, my generation, because we're the feral generation, and we had to work hard for and scrap for everything that we got, we wanted to make it easier. And so we set up this whole participation trophy society. And this is where we're at. This is why people waste their life on entertainment instead of building their life on the fundamentals that it takes to actually be successful.
Okay. That's because the ACC.
The anterior cingulate cortex.
Now, break it down. Cookie Monster style. You really got to ABC this thing for me. Explain it to the people what it is and why we're having such a hard time.
Okay. The ACC is a small little party. And when you are in for hardship, which means you go through something difficult, the brain doesn't care if you win or you lose in that thing. As long as you endure the hardship and you make it to the other side, you don't quit. If you quit, then this doesn't happen. But if you make it to the other side, win or lose, doesn't matter. That's how the brain will actually grow. And the more times you do like, the bigger it grows, which means the more things that you can actually endure. With lifting weights, you can't go in there and say you're going to put up 225 pounds, which is my max bench, by the way. So yeah, I'm a little guy. 225 pounds is my max bench. Now I didn't go in there day one and hit that. I've been working on that since high school, lifting weights. And I finally hit 225 when I was in the Marine Corps. That's the max bench I've ever been able to do. I couldn't go in there day one and not. It took me years to get to that because I build up resistance by pushing my muscles to finish. And sometimes I get that bar all the way. Sometimes I need a little bit of help. But over time, I developed the strength to be able to do it because I broke those muscles down and built them back up. It's the same thing when you're enduring hardship, when you're trying to build a better life, build better mental resiliency, work hard in a job, try and build a business. All of those things require you to endure hardship. You're going to fail. You're going to struggle. That's where the strength comes, is in the struggle. So when you endure the hardship, the ACC grows. Now, when they did a study on professional athletes and special forces operators, this part of the brain was enormous because they were continually enduring hardship. They were looking for it. They were looking for the next hardest thing to do. And that's why their area of the brain grew and grew and grew. And when those guys leave the military, they continue to be high performers. Why? Because they know how to endure hardship. They know how to push through to the other side. They know how to accept defeat and failure, rally, and come back and try again. Because really, the only defeat you're ever going to face is quitting. And that's where everybody is. They quit. Oh, I tried this. It didn't work. I quit. You know, most people's breakthrough is just on the other side of that hardship. When you feel like quitting and you want to give up and want to knock it in, if you just keep going, you're going to win. I tell people all the time, you don't have to necessarily be the very best at what you do. You just have to outlast all the rest of them. And if you can outlast them, they're going to quit. And then you know what? You're the last man standing. In business, it's not about being the best. It's about being the last one standing. That's a big reason of how I've gotten to where I am today, with my company being in the top 2% of small businesses. Is because you and I know how to endure hardship. We knew it when we were little kids, and we continue that through our life as adults. And now we seek out bigger and harder things to do.
I feel like our society has kind of come up with excuses, right? So take marriage, right? Let's go back to Taylor Swift. and talk about that for a second, right? Marriages have kind of become trial and error. Like, what's her name? Kim Kardashian. I'm like one of the shortest marriages in history. I'm like one of the shortest marriages in history. Like there's people that are getting married and then like, nope, never mind. As soon as you see that over, right? So with your relationships, if not enduring hardship together is what's I think the biggest failure in marriages, since that's what we start talking about, right, Mitch? You and I were married 15 years. We've seen a thing or two.
15 long, arduous, anterior cingulate cortex building years. Yes.
You were special forces. You said it yourself. You were looking for the next hard thing. And I don't want to disappoint. I am nothing if not a people pleaser.
Well, let's be clear. AMLOCO is a special forces capable unit. Which really sensitive. You say that. So yeah, it's AMLOCO is the special forces capable unit. We did a lot of really high speed, hardcore things. Super awesome. And that taught me a lot about how to endure hardship. I mean, I did it when I was a kid, but I didn't really realize it. But in the Marine Corps, that's all it was. And I just continued to drive as hard as I could into that because I knew that's where the gold really was. I could just push a little bit harder, a little bit farther, a little bit faster than everybody else, then I could come out on top. I remember going to the close combat instructor course. I used to get in fights a lot in the Marine Corps. Yeah, I know it's hard to believe. I'm a nice guy.
Asshole, not you.
I used to get in a lot of fights. Yeah, down in my unit. Fight. And so I remember one of the officers, our XO, executive officer, came up to me one day and put his arm around me. He says, "Q, you like to fight?" I don't know where this is going. Like, are we about to scrap? And he says, "I'm going to send you to a place where you get your kicked every single day." And I thought, I have made a tactical error. I have made a mistake. And he sent me to close combat instructor course because he thought I was just going to get pummeled every day. And I did. But I graduated number one out of that class. I graduated number one out of that class. And when I came back, he was a little bit like, "Oh no." But he did
Created a monster.
like calm it down a little bit. So like I had to continue to prove myself because I'm the close combat instructor. I'm a green belt, red stripe, like I'm top on top. And now I do all the close combat instructor for the whole unit. So I teach everybody in the unit. So it did have a desired effect where I was fighting all the time because I could fight every Friday. And now so I was EPT, fight every Friday, and I could do that. But that moment where he, I think, underestimated me, like, oh, I'm going to sit in there, he's going to get his butt kicked, and then he'll kind of learn his place like he's, tough. And then I came back number one in the class. I was the smallest guy there. But because I'd endured so much hardship and wasn't afraid of taking a punt, wasn't afraid of getting knocked down and getting back up, that I completed that course. And there were people who quit. I remember, I watched people. They'd get choked out for the first time. And be back the next day. It's a totally voluntary school, by the way. I remember it. I wrote a blog about it. It was called The Pit. You remember this?
Yeah.
Okay, so The Pit. So this is what happens. They had this tower of sandbags that was like 9 feet high, and it was in the middle of this building. They had sandbags piled up. So you'd have to like crawl up these sandbags and look down into it. And there would be an instructor in there. You'd have that headgear on, mouthpiece, and some gloves. And you'd have to jump down in there and fight this guy. But if he's the instructor, okay, now you're not fresh either. They would continue to physical training. So they would wear you out, make you tired, exhausted for a couple hours and doing training. Then they would dump you in there with an instructor who just got done sipping his Red Bull. So, and the way we did it was pretty intimidating too, because you drop down in there and now you're in this pit where there's sand on the ground. You can just smell the blood and sweat hanging in that little tiny space. There's probably 5 feet by 6 feet. So it's small little space, 9 feet deep. And you get down in there and your gear's there. So now you've got this instructor, this big meathead instructor, fully geared up, ready to go. And he's taunting the whole time. And I'm trying to now put on my gear, putting on my headgear, make sure it's tight, putting my mouth in, put my gloves on, time tight, and thinking like, how long can I make this last? And then now I got to fight his dude. And he's just, I'm brand new in this. Like, I know how to street fight, but I never put on no mitts before. I didn't know how to do it. And he would just work you over and knock you to the ground. And you could quit whenever you wanted. He never quit. Like, down. So I guess, I quit there. He hammered me pretty good. And I was quick. He was a bigger guy, so I could get some shots in. It's really damaged this guy. Because I didn't really at that time know how to really throw up. But I was just sticking this guy, and I'll never forget. He hit me with this over the hand blow, and they call it the hammer fist, where he hit me over the top, right here on the brachial plexus of my left arm, which is my guard arm. So he hit me there, and his that nerve caused it to spasm, and my whole arm went dead. Like literally, I couldn't pick it up. And I remember he's looking at me with this big old smile. And then he commenced to just beating the tar out of me, but I physically couldn't bring that up to defend myself. He ends up knocking me out. I remember coming to and I'm looking straight up, at him. I mean, I remember looking up and everybody's heads are poked over the side of this hole. And you lose you lose short-term memory. So that like last 15 to 20 seconds, I don't even remember what happened when I get up and I'm like, okay, let's get back down. And I'm trying to fight again. They're like, no. You got knocked out. You got to go see doc. You got to, you're done for the day type of a thing. And I was still ready to go back and continue fighting, mainly because I didn't realize that I just got knocked out. But a lot of guys, that would happen. You wouldn't come back.
Right.
But for me, I was like, okay, I didn't want that to ever happen again. So I went back and said, hey, what did you do to me? How the heck do I defend against that? Explain to me what happened and taught me how to defend against it. So most people wouldn't do that. They'd get knocked out and they would never come back. And we watched, I don't know, probably a third of the class that happened to, where they just quit.
Okay. So you have educated us on what's happening, right? And why we're doing the things that we're doing. Now you're gonna have to do a little bit of encouragement. You came down pretty hard today. You did.
No. So I educated you on why your life is so miserable is because you aren't doing the things you need to do to make it better. That's education. And that's it. Because when you feel discomfort, you run from it instead of digging in and pushing through it. And when you push through it, that builds your anterior cingulate cortex, which gives you the strength to do the next thing and find success. A lot of times people avoid discomfort because it looks like work. But on the other side of that, hard work is success. And so let me share with you how you can be successful. Stop running from those things that are hard. Number one, that's the first thing. Stop running from those times where it's uncomfortable. And number two, seek out difficult things to do. You don't have to be successful at it. That doesn't matter. Your brain doesn't care if you're successful. It just cares that you tried. So if you want to become a writer and write a book, start writing. Like, oh, I don't have time. I don't have the training. I don't have it. Just start. I didn't have a book. I just wrote it. Just start and make a plan. I'm going to accomplish this goal. So that means I need a series of small goals. So I'm going to write for 20 minutes every single day for the next 30 days. And then whatever that is, I'm going to say to an editor to be published. That's it right there. It's going to be hard because there's going to be 100 things in your life that are going to try and steal your time. Hey, Facebook's going to be over here saying, hey, come check this out. Instagram, okay, Amazon shopping, TikTok videos, all that stuff wants to steal your time. And it's giving you that false sense of achievement. When really, if you would just spend 20 minutes a day, every single day, working on yourself, start with your mental health. Start with 20 minutes a day, working on your mental health. And in 30 days, you're going to be amazed on what is going to happen in your life. But you have to start and you have to be dedicated. So that's your empowerment today is start working on your mental health and spend the next 30 days doing it for 20 minutes a day. 3 simple tasks. Simple tasks. They're not easy, but they're simple. So that's the empowerment. And encouragement, I don't have no encouragement for you. Now, once you start, I'll encourage the heck out of you. But I can't encourage you. I cannot motivate you to do anything. That's the big, in this industry, that's the big lie. Listen to all these motivational speakers. You go there, you go to this conference and you feel awesome. These guys are great. And then you go home and you don't do anything. Motivation is a lie. You cannot motivate anyone to accomplish anything. But what you can do
Are you going to say what I think?
is you can motivate yourself by actually doing the thing. You have to do the thing. Here's how the brain works. Motivation is a lie. You cannot motivate anyone, but they can motivate themselves. But they have to do the thing. That gives them dopamine. That dopamine hits their brain and becomes motivation to do it again. But you have to start. So when you have to be like encourage the people, I can't.
You do, though. You do. So let me give you an example.
Well, I can't motivate them until they actually start.
Right.
And they start doing it.
For me, for example, I started back into therapy, right? I've gone off and on for the last 15 years, started back into therapy. I'm feeling pretty good about myself. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I need to be more disciplined, and so I show up to therapy and she's like, what are we talking about today? And I'm like, I want you to help me be more disciplined. I want you to help me, go to the gym and get up and, have my morning routine. And she's just like, yeah, great. Oh, yeah. Tell me about how did today go? Like, well, I was going to go to the gym, but then Aaron says that there was this thing that didn't get done. And so we had to go all the way to Auburn. So I didn't get to go to the gym. And she's like, well, did you ask him? Just be like, yeah, I can go, but I got to go to the gym first. I was like, well, no, because he'd be irritated that I'm not going to go with him and get this thing done. And she's like, okay. So you didn't want to go to the gym. And I'm like, yeah, of course I did. I wanted to go to the gym. "The gym?" Because you wanted a coffee on your way to the gym. You told them and you got a coffee on your way to the gym or on your way to the office, right? I'm like, well, yeah, I got me. Um, and it hit me. She's right. If I wanted to go to the gym, I would have gone to the gym. So let's stop lying to yourself. That was my first thing. Stop lying to yourself. And stop being like, oh, when did you go? And making excuses. Um, so I've started looking at things in my life through that lens. Do I actually want to do this or do I just want to do this? Right?
You like the idea about
I love the idea of it because I see how successful it is. I see you with your morning routine and it blows my mind. But every morning I still put that pillow over my head when you start your motivational talks at 5 a.m. and turn on the lights because I'm like, no one's the decking, right? But I see the change and I see what it's done to you. And so the first step to motivation, in my opinion, is education. Because if you can teach me why I should do something and what's going to actually help me, instead of that false sense of, yeah, I'm so excited to do this because I just walked on fire rocks at this unnamed person's invention, right? And I get hold of like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. Wait, why am I doing this? Right? But if you've done this to me for the last 15 years, educate me on why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling. What's going to make me feel better and why it makes me want to do those things. And so I know you're saying that you can't motivate people, but Erin, you motivate so many people through education. You've told me countless stories of people that you've encountered, that you've educated, and it's impacted their life.
Yes, they're the minority though.
Right. Well, you don't need to reach everybody, right? It's a teacher.
No, yeah, I get it. I'm saying the majority of society just wants to piss and moan about where their life is, but they don't want to actually take action.
Yeah.
There are. It's about 10 to 12% of the population who hear what I'm saying and they go and do it, or they read my book. And then we get emails from people saying, it's changed my life. And now I'm doing X, Y, and Z because I read this and I actually did it. So if you're in your life right now and you're in the suck and you just think like, oh, it's always going to be this way, you're right. It will always be that way until you make a change, until you do the hard things, until you face the reality. The only thing stopping you isn't race, isn't economics, isn't your family, isn't your job, isn't lack of anything. What is stopping you is your own mind, your biggest enemy. And you're the reason that you're not going anywhere. It's you. Until you come to that realization and you make a change, nothing I tell you or anybody else tells you is going to actually,
Because you're the one in doubt,
right?
right? I'm in complete control. As much as to the extent of what I choose to do, how I choose to feel, how I choose to react and respond to my circumstances. I'm in complete control. I may not be able to control, the my environment, what's happening around me, but I can most certainly control how I react to it. And for anybody who is like, oh, they have no idea what they're talking about, right? We'll do an episode someday where we talk about what we've come from. Um, because neither one of us came from any type of lap of luxury or privilege in any way, shape, or form. So you can't look at either of us and say, oh, you have no idea what it feels like to have nothing or, to be abused or discriminated against, or you don't understand racial, issues. So just know, you guys, that we absolutely do understand it and we're still here.
Yeah, the majority of people are in that victim mentality
Yes.
where they just want to be a victim of the circumstance because it's easier to make that their identity and to actually put the work in.
So because that's all they know. That's all they know is that victim mentality. They never moved outside of that. So anytime that a trauma or something has happened, you end up in the victim mentality. You immediately go into that camp, no matter what, right? Like me, I anytime something happens to me, even now, something is inconvenienced, right? I'm late. I'm mad because this person just cut me off. I'm a victim. How dare they, right? And so I'm super entitled. And why are there other cars on the roadway? But then having the knowledge and the gentle resiliency to be like, come on, right? Like, So we're not going to be the victim today and empowered. Um, Being able to move through those camps really fluidly, I think, is really important. So many people end up in that victim mentality and they just stay there because they haven't had anybody show them anything.
Yeah. And if you're in that camp and you can today hit you and you're like, yeah, I do want to make a change. I don't know where to start. I can absolutely help.
Mhm.
We have go to thisistheway.com, sign up for my very next class. I will teach you in one day, I will teach you how to take control of your mental health journey. And then over the next 30 to 60 days, you're going to see steady improvement in your mental health. And I'm going to walk right alongside you. So it's a 2-day class and then 2 months of coaching where it just helps you understand how this brain works next to your body and how through small daily tasks you can take back control of your mental health and start living a more successful, rewarding life. But here's the thing, I can only educate and empower you and not encourage you until you actually start. That's the encouragement piece. You have to come along for the ride. You have to start doing the work. And that's when you can start getting the encouragement. Till then, I can't encourage you to do anything. All I can do is educate you. How are you? And if you want the encouragement, then you got to do the work. So, as mental health janitors, I'm Sgt Q,
Definitely.
and we're out.